Welcome to the Strength for Life podcast, where smart strength training meets real life. We're Dr. Matt and Nicole Klingler, founders of Village Fitness and Physical Therapy. Here, you'll learn what really works in the gym, at home, and for life. Welcome to the Strength for Life podcast, the very first episode. I'm Dr. Matt Klingler.
And I'm Nicole Klingler.
And we are the founders of Village Fitness and Physical Therapy. I'm Dr. Matt. I'm a husband, a dad, a Little League baseball coach, and an avid strength training nerd.
Emphasis on the Little League baseball coach.
Yes, it's a big part of my job.
And I am a personal trainer, nutrition coach, a mom of three very strong-willed children. And I am self-proclaimed competitive board game player.
A little too competitive.
And pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I like to win no matter what it is.
Anyways, we are starting this podcast, the Strength for Life podcast, and this is our first episode. And we want to talk about who we created this podcast for, why we created this podcast, and what we're going to talk about on the pod. Plus, you're going to get some actionable takeaways from our very first episode today. So first, Nicole, who did we create this podcast for?
So the first person is for Grandma Penny. She has been, it's my grandma. She's in her 80s, and she's not local to Village Fitness, but she has always been striving to be healthy. But I would say that she has also been someone who's been on and off different programs. So she's kind of struggled to be consistent, and a lot of that has been due to injury or illness or different things that have popped up in her life. And she kind of gets derailed or, falls off the wagon, as people like to say. And she's always questioning if she's doing the right thing. So she'll, go to a gym and say, am I doing the right things? Am I picking the right trainer? And so this podcast is for you, Grandma Penny, and for all of those who can relate to Grandma Penny, because, often when people are, afraid of making the wrong decision, they don't take any action at all.
It's also for Lynn, who is one of our awesome clients in San Marino. She started a couple of years back, pretty much right when we opened our second location out there in San Marino. And she, of her own admission, was totally sedentary before she started our program. She wasn't doing anything. She had some bone density issues, strength issues. She wanted to lose weight. And over the last 2 years, by following the very stuff we're going to talk about in this podcast, she has lost 30 pounds. She's gotten stronger than she's been in decades. Her bone density has improved.
And she went through cancer treatment, which was incredible. So she went through cancer treatment while still doing nutrition coaching with us. She only took about 4 to 6 weeks off of actual heavy strength training. And she came back while she still, was on limited restriction of what she could do. But she was like, I have to keep doing this. This is going to be the thing that saves my life and keeps me independent for the rest of my life.
And so we're going to talk about people like Lynn. How do you get started and what do you do? And then the last person this podcast is for is my dad, a.k.a. Grandpa Ken. He's been strength training his entire life. In fact, the day I was born, rumor goes, Klingler legend has it, that he was at the gym. And not only the day I was born, but while my mom was going into labor, they had to actually page him over the gym loudspeaker. Ken Klingler, your wife is going into labor. Please go home and get her. He did finish his set first before leaving, as any self-respecting gym nerd does. And he went home. Anyways, my dad's been consistently exercising, strength training 3 days a week for as long as I can remember. He water skis, snow skis, he mountain bikes and road bikes. He's really, really active, and it shows. He's almost 70 years old, and the guy is ripped. He's very, very fit, healthy, and he's taking care of himself, but he always wants to know what's optimal. How do I optimally organize my strength training, my nutrition, my fitness, my supplements to be healthy as I age? And we're going to get into that on this podcast. So whether you're a total beginner like Lynn, haven't even started yet, or you're somebody who's dabbled and done things on and off like Grandma Penny, or you're fairly consistent and advanced like Grandpa Ken, we're going to speak to you on this podcast and help you on your journey.
So the reason why we created this podcast is we wanted to give the people in our lives an authentic glimpse into who we are as a fitness professional and a doctor of physical therapy. We're always striving to, live a healthy life, and we're also doing it while managing a lot. So we have 3 young kids. We're running a business, and we're far from perfect. And I think we'll hear things like, I don't know how you guys do it. And so hopefully this podcast gives you a little bit of insight into what our lives are actually like. They're not perfect. We often fail, but we try to use those failures to, to grow and to learn from that, and hopefully to help other people in that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think people will come in for consultations. They'll be like, I just want to look like you, or I just want to look like Nicole. You guys must just have it all together and all figured out. And the reality is that we don't. And I think the content that we put out, the YouTube videos we make, they probably don't give an accurate picture of what it's actually like day to day for us striving to be healthy. And so that's a part of this podcast too, is going to be us just kind of talking about what we're doing, how we're striving to be healthy, how we're succeeding and failing, and being really, really open about that.
And I think it's also a chance for us to have a conversation and to kind of dialogue and dissect things that we are, working through, learning about, excited to share about, because we don't, as much as like people might think, we get a ton of time to catch up and share about things in our lives. We don't have as much time as you would think, because a lot of it is just like shoulder to shoulder work. So the hope is that this is also a chance for us to just have a conversation and spend some time together.
Yeah, nice. I'm excited about that. Unselfishly and unselfishly, we also want to get the message of Village to more people. What we're doing is very unique in my opinion. We're doing barbell strength training, specifically heavy barbell strength training for aging people. This is the most brutally effective form of training for the aging body. The research shows really clearly that you need to lift weights, and the weights need to actually be pretty heavy if you want to maintain your muscle mass. And the exercises need to be similar to real life. And that is what barbell training does. It allows you to lift heavy weights in a way that's very similar to real life. Yet the problem for most people is that they wind up in pain or hurting themselves when they start training at a high intensity, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to get started, how to do it right, and then how to progress appropriately. And so we want to talk about how we do that with thousands of clients who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and how we can help you to do it.
And I don't want to brag, but I do think that we are just the best at helping specifically people who have come in with chronic injuries or illnesses, or who have been sedentary for a long time, at helping them to properly progress in a very realistic way with strength training. And I think a lot of times people go into other gyms, and I've seen, heard this from people that don't live in the area, or people that have been into other gyms, and they'll say like, oh, I was just crushed and my body wasn't, able to handle that boot camp workout, or that workout that my trainer put me through. And so I think because of our experience and the way that we've helped thousands of people as they age to work out in a way that's safe and effective, and that they're going to actually be able to progress and be consistent with it for the rest of their lives. And so I think that's what sets us apart, is that we have done that with thousands of clients, and we are continuing to do that on a daily basis. And we have people consistently strength training, not just for a week or two until they get injured or until they get tired of it, but we have them doing it for the long term.
Nice. So this is what we're going to talk about on the podcast. We're going to talk about, like I said, our journey with strength training, with nutrition, with supplements, the things that we're actually doing, the things we're trying, succeeding, and failing at. And we're going to talk about how you can set up your own strength training program. We're going to get into the actual real structure of how to implement a strength training program into your life, no matter who you are.
We're also going to go into the science of strength and how it applies to the aging body, as well as nutrition that helps to support lean muscle mass and just long-term health.
And then as a doctor of physical therapy, I'll share my insights on how to strength train without pain, or how to, relieve pain if you have it, how to improve mobility, all the things I've learned in the last decade or so as a DPT. I'm going to be sharing that with you.
Right. And we're going to share this while also throwing in some personal stories about raising 3 kids, running a business, and really just how do we do this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So we're going to get into a little bit of our origin story. I think Matt's going to kick us off.
I am. So I was overweight and out of shape as a kid. And around the age of 12 or 13, I just started to have this desire to want to get fit. I think it was the hormones, starting to like girls, and knowing that if I wanted to be attractive and be able to excel in sports, I needed to be leaner and stronger. And so I begged my parents. You're going to say something?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, Grandpa Ken, for as fit as he is, he's also can be brutally honest. And so when Matt was little, when he was like playing sports, he called him Freight Train because he was so big, and he just said,
it's because I was slow.
And slow, big and slow. That's how brutally honest Grandpa Ken was.
I needed that though. Yeah, it would probably crush my 8-year-old son if I called him Freight Train.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but here I am on a podcast
talking about your health.
Yep. Anyways, so I begged Grandpa Ken and my mom if I could get a gym membership, and they obliged. They were happy to do that. They're like, this kid needs help, and he's interested in this. And I remember that very first workout, I went into the gym, and I think all I did was bench press.
Like a true teenage boy.
All I did was bench press, probably the bar, and then I just instantly liked it. Like, I liked being sore. I liked working out. I met some people in the gym, some older guys who gave me advice on how to train. I saw in the supermarket Men's Health magazine, and it had a picture on the cover of some dude that I probably wanted to look like. And so I started reading those magazines. And at the time, they were packed with the latest research on, fitness, nutrition, strength training. And I read those things cover to cover and really started implementing them into my own life. And then I had this really cool opportunity in high school. Our high school football training program, weight training program, was extremely organized. We would do like max testing on all of our lifts, and then the head coach would program based on percentages your workouts for the entire year. Based on those programs, based on the max lift tests. And I credit that to a large degree with my desire to go further into strength training and personal training. It was that experience I had in high school of barbell training. And then when I was 18, like right after I graduated high school, I got certified as a personal trainer. Turns out it only takes like a weekend to get certified as a personal trainer. So be careful when you're hiring a personal trainer. You want to make sure they have some experience and know their stuff, because I did not have either of those things. But I started personal training at a gym called Sugar Fix in Northern California.
Great name for a gym.
Great name for a gym. And then I did that for about a year before I started college at UC Davis. And then when I went to Davis, before I met Nicole, I got a job again as a personal trainer. I was on the wrestling team, and the wrestling program got cut. And so I had to find work to do. So I got a job as a personal trainer. I worked at the ARC, the Activities and Recreation Center on campus, as a trainer and a spin instructor and TRX boot camp, all kinds of fun stuff. And I'll tell the story of how we met in just a second, but I'll let you take your journey.
Yeah, so I really got into fitness in high school. I played sports my whole life and was always really active. And I started off just going to the gym really because some of my friends went to the gym, and it was kind of like something to do when I wasn't in volleyball or ski season. And so, I found like, I want to get stronger. I want to get fitter. And so, especially where I lived, Carson City, Nevada, it was cold in the winter. So there was like, you couldn't really work out outside with the snow and the ice. You could, but I didn't. And so I would go to the gym after school, especially when I didn't have practice. And so, like all teenage girls, I was like pretty much on the elliptical and using like the resistance bands and maybe some cable machines or some weight machines, but I never dabbled in free weights because I was just not confident. It was kind of like, that's for the guys over on that side, and the girls stay, on this side of the gym with the cardio machines. And so I was very stereotypical. But then I got a knee injury my senior year of high school. And so I thought, maybe I'll play, volleyball in college. And that kind of changed my trajectory. And I did a lot of physical therapy. And I really got into like some more strength training, and still not a ton of free weights, but a little bit more than I was before. And that really helped me to feel stronger. And I also found that strength training helped with my scoliosis. So I had found out I had scoliosis when I was like 12 or 13, when they check you at school. And I always kind of had a lot of side pain and back pain. And so I noticed like, as I'm strength training, like I don't have as much pain in those areas. And so, fast forward into college, and also went to UC Davis, and I started off as a chemistry major. But going into it, I was like, I really want to do personal training. And so I didn't have time to do the like whole personal training certification while also taking all of the prereqs for science and working. So I just got a job at the gym as I started off at the front desk, and then I went into like selling memberships and then became the building supervisor at the ARC at UC Davis. And so that's what I was doing. I was, taking a ton of units and taking a ton of science classes, and then, working as a building supervisor. And then I got the opportunity in my second year of school to coach volleyball. So I started coaching high school volleyball at a local high school nearby. And then I also started teaching women's boot camp. And so I had a family friend that I knew, and she was like, hey, I think you'd be perfect for teaching this. And I was like, this is a great opportunity for me because they were going to pay for my certification. And so I got certified and started teaching women's boot camp classes. And that was like really just kind of sparked my love for coaching people and for fitness and nutrition and helping people. And so at that point, some people I knew too, they were like, you have to change your major. You should not be a chemistry major. You don't want to go to dental school. Like, you really should be an exercise biology major. And so going from my sophomore to my junior year, I switched to exercise biology and loved it. And then I also got my personal training certification that year and was training clients both at the gym in Davis and then, continued that past that as well. But I think we're going to get into how we met at UC Davis. Mm-hmm. So it was sophomore year.
Yep.
And the wrestling program had just got cut for Matt. Mm-hmm. And we went on a retreat. So we both went to, I was already attending Athletes in Action, which is a Christian fellowship on campus for athletes. And I was on the cycling team. And Matt was on the wrestling team, and then it got cut. And he was like, I have more time. What do I do?
Yeah. I remember I made a commitment to myself. I was like, I'm going to go to this group all 10 weeks of this quarter. And I did, and they did like a houseboat trip, and I think my first memory of interacting with you was on that houseboat trip, and I remember getting the vibe that you didn't like me or weren't enjoying the conversation.
No. Well, I remember our first conversation. We were talking about cycling, and he was like questioning my abilities. He's like, what kind of bike do you even have? And like, how far do you even bike?
I think I was trying to flirt with you.
And I was not having it. I was like, this guy is not cool. And I just quickly ended the conversation and did not want to interact with him after that. And I straight up told my best friend, who is part of the reason why we even got together, that I thought he was weird. And she was like, he's so nice. I was like,
thanks,
maybe,
Vanessa,
but,
if you're listening to this. Appreciate it.
But he's weird.
Anyways, so months later.
Like a year later.
Well, actually, in the interim, maybe.
Yeah.
I got a job as a spin instructor.
Yeah.
And had my very first spin class. It was 6 a.m. and I overslept. I missed my alarm or set my alarm wrong. Who knows? I'm a total schmuck. And I remember I got a call on my phone. I would like to hear your perspective on this story, because she was the one calling me. She was the building supervisor on duty. And we barely knew each other at the time. I think we were friends. But...
Yeah. No, I barely knew you. I think I had met you those like 1 or 2 times. And I said, are you coming in to teach your spin class? It's 6:04 a.m. And he's like, I overslept.
Yeah.
And so I had to report it to his boss.
I hate that feeling.
Oh, I know. It's the worst. So I had to report it to his boss and like write an incident report and all these things about it. And then he felt horrible. He I think biked in, came in and apologized to the people that were still there, but I had to like handle a few angry people who didn't get to do.
I thought I was going to get fired for sure.
I thought so too. It was your first class.
Yeah.
And you didn't show up. I would have fired you.
I mean, I would have fired me. I would have fired me. Anyways.
So we both worked at the gym, and we had lots of classes together and had a lot of overlaps. We did Athletes in Action. We had exercise biology classes together. We went to we had a lot of overlap with friends. So we saw each other pretty much every day, I would say.
Yeah. It
was weird if we didn't. But we were just friends that whole time.
Yep. Nicole's on the cycling team, and she got in a really bad bike accident. You want to tell that story?
Yeah.
Briefly?
Yeah. So I was in a race where you race with your teammates, and I was coming around a corner really quickly, and I don't remember everything that happened. My teammate remembers because she was right behind me. And I hit some type of kind of pothole around a corner. I think I was going over 30 miles an hour, and apparently I flipped over my handlebars, rolled down the side. My face hit a road sign on the side of the road, and miraculously I didn't have any major injuries. I
broke your scapula.
I broke my scapula, chipped some teeth, and had some gnarly road rash. and a concussion, I think. But they were like,
definitely had a concussion because after the bike accident, she started liking me.
That's true.
I think some screws got knocked loose. There were some alterations in her neurochemistry. And I'm very happy for it. The silver lining.
So Matt came to the hospital with some of our other friends to visit me.
Yep.
And I don't remember that much about it, but you came.
I liked you at the time. For sure.
I did not like you yet.
No, yes, you told your mom on the way home from the hospital.
Yeah.
You thought you were
so
gonna
maybe
marry
I did
me.
start to like you, and then on the way home, still on pain medication, I told my mom, I think I'm going to marry Matt, and she said, "Are you guys dating?" I said, "No." She's like, "Why do you think you're going to marry him?" I don't know. I just do.
Yeah.
And then I came back, and then
we were like 20.
Yeah, we were 20 at the time.
Dang.
I know.
Anyways, so I was a total wuss and could not muster up the nerve to ask her out. Like, I was so afraid of rejection, I think. But she would come to my spin classes at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I knew she wasn't a morning person. So I was like, I know she likes me. She's coming to my spin classes, and then we would stretch together after class in the martial arts room next door. And one day, I mustered up the courage to ask her if she wanted to go get food later after. And you said...
And I said, where? And you picked like a nice Thai restaurant.
Nice Thai restaurant.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I came back a little bit later after talking to my roommates. And I was like, is this a date? And they're like, you should ask him. And so I came back actually to go to work, and you were still at work. And I said, is this a date?
And I said, if you want it to be.
Such a wuss.
I was a total pansy. And you said, yes, I want it to be. Thankfully, you were still...
I was still interested in you at that time.
Yeah, that's good.
And then hours later,
who knows what happened? I pick her up in the car, and I said something along the lines of, I just want you to know I'm dating you with the intention of marrying you. So from let's go get food to dating you with the intention of marrying you, that's how the brain of a 20-something boy works, okay?
Apparently so.
Yeah. Anyway, so we started dating. I even joined the cycling team and got way more into it than Nicole had ever been.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is not the last time that happened in my life, that I got way too into something. But we continued working at the college gym. Less than a year after we started dating, we got married.
That was like 2 weeks after you graduated.
2 weeks after I graduated.
And then I stayed for another year. So I had the opportunity, I got a scholarship where I had the opportunity to double major. And I also had to still take a couple exercise biology classes. So I was like, why not stay a fifth year, double major? I'll get my degree in exercise biology and psychology. And I was by far the oldest one. Everyone thought I was strange because I was married and in my fifth year of college, and I felt very old.
So old, 22.
And I was still working. And I think at that point, well, in college, I had worked a bunch of different jobs. There's one point when, I think right before my bike accident, I was working 4 jobs. I was working at the gym on campus. I was teaching volleyball or coaching volleyball, high school kids. I was working at Starbucks, and I was also working at Burgers and Brew, waitressing. So there was a lot of, Matt didn't have to work as much in college. Nope. Even post-college, you didn't have to work as much.
I never had to work as much as you.
It's true.
I still don't work as much.
I was working 4 jobs and in college full time. Yeah. But then he graduated. I still was in school, which was hard because we were fully focused kind of on working, but I was still taking some classes. And we both were pretty much training full time. You were working longer hours than I was at that point, but I would go coach boot camps in the morning or have clients in the morning, and then I'd go to class during the day, and you'd basically be at the gym all day. Yep. So that was early married. And then he found out he got into PT school down here in Southern California at Azusa Pacific. Yeah. And
but while we were early married before PT school, that's when I really got into barbell training. Yeah. I read the book Starting Strength by Mark Rippetoe and a few others, and I started really applying what I was reading into my training and with my clients too. And I kind of fell in love with the process of progressive overload and helping people to build strength through barbells.
And I would say I got into it during that time as well.
Yeah, I remember deadlifting together.
Yep.
We started a blog called eatpraysweat.com. That was super fun.
It was really fun.
And we started doing online training. In fact, before we moved down to Southern California for me to go to PT school, we filmed hundreds of exercise videos. They're still out there on YouTube somewhere. We filmed them in pretty much the middle of the night when the gym was closed.
It was from midnight to 4 to 5 a.m.
Yeah. We didn't ask for permission.
But we had keys to the gym. They didn't say we
keys
couldn't.
to the gym. They did not say we couldn't, but we did set off the alarm. The police did come. We did get in trouble after the fact. But we're both good. We're good trainers, so they let us off the hook.
Yeah, and we did that because we knew, like, with him going to PT school, we were like, okay, he's going to be in school. We're going to be taking out a ton of student debt. How do we continue to, like, have some money? And we also, when we moved down here, I started training at a gym and personal training, but I knew, like, I'm not going to have any clients. Like, it's going to take a little while for me to build up. And so we're going to have no money. You're going to be in school. So how do we create some way to have some income? And so we did that basically the whole time you were in school. We both had online clients, and obviously I built up my clients at the gym while you were in school. But yeah, those middle of the night filming.
I know. It's no joke.
It was intense.
It's no joke. But we moved down here in 2014.
Correct. Yeah.
I started PT school. We swore that we would not stay in Southern California. For reference, it's 2025. We're still here 11 years later.
Specifically Southern California. I wanted to move back to
Southern California.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But we got really involved in our church, and we fell in love with our community here. And so we were like, man, like, we can't imagine leaving. And so every night, pretty much after dinner, when we had no kids and nothing else to do but go for walks after dinner.
The good old days.
I know we would walk around downtown Glendora. And for like 6 months, we're like, oh, this would be a really cool spot. There was an empty space, and we're like, this would be a really cool spot to have a gym. And I was like, yeah, but I really want to end up back in Northern California. And so we kind of just like wrote it off, but we're like, this is great. We love this, downtown area. And so we kind of talked about that. And then you went to a conference.
I did. Yeah. I was in my first PT school rotation working at a clinic and doing physical therapy. And the clinic director was like, hey, I'm not going to be in the office tomorrow. I'm going to this fitness conference in Long Beach. And he's like, you can either come with me or you can just stay home for the day. Don't care. It's like, well, I'll come with you. That sounds fun. And I was, really into therapeutic exercise and all the physical therapy things at this conference. So I was trying to go to those sessions, and I ended up in the room of what I thought was the therapeutic exercise session. It turned out it was a session on how to start your own small group personal training gym. I almost got up and walked out, but there weren't that many people in the room. So I stayed put to avoid the awkwardness. And by the end of it, the guy had laid out the entire business model of how to start a group training gym. And in painstaking detail, like, this is exactly how you do it. This is how it works. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, we are perfect for this. We have this personal training background. We have some business experience because we've run our own personal training businesses. Like, we could totally do this. And we could go from one-on-one training that Nicole's doing to helping a lot more people. So I came home and told her that we had to do this. And you said,
I just said, you're crazy. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
You're in PT school.
You did. I was.
Yeah. So then the next year, we both went to the conference.
I convinced her to go to the conference. Just go to the conference with me next year. Like, we don't have to do this, but let's go to the conference. Secretly, I knew that we were going to do this.
Yeah. So by the time he was in, I was like, that actually is a really good idea. I love the idea of, like, group training in community. Like, it has so many benefits, one of which is it's not, like, solely dependent on you as the trainer to help the person be successful. It's like they have a community of people around them to help them see better results. And it also will help us to help more people. Like, we can only help, you can only see 20 clients in a week or whatever when you do one-on-one training. But in group training, it's like you can help way more people. And so our mission originally was like, we just want to help 100 people in Glendora get healthier. And I would say we've accomplished that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So end of like 2015, we'd been walking around downtown Glendora, and we had gone to that conference. We kind of had this idea. So then we're like, let's just go ask how much the rent is. So we ask how much the rent is, and then we get in contact with the landlord, and we start to realize, like, we're like, well, maybe we should, like, create a business plan. And so we created a business plan, and we, like, had all these ideas, and the landlord was like, okay, you guys can have the space, and you have a few months to, like, fix it up or whatever. And so we're like, okay, this will be great. And then we tried to go through the city of Glendora, and the city of Glendora at that time was zoned in a way that you couldn't have fitness businesses on the first floor on Glendora Avenue. And so we're like, well, that's a problem. And so
I think we were like, well, that's it. We're done.
That's it. Yeah. Like, I don't think this is going to happen.
It's not going to happen, at least not here.
Yeah. And so then we met this wonderful woman at the city of Glendora, and she just totally helped us she was like, usually this takes about like 6 to 9 months. And we're like, well, we don't have 6 to 9 months.
We have like 1 month.
Yeah. We've got like 1 month. And I think it was like less than 2 months later, she had, and our landlord also was like very gracious. He was like, oh, I'm going to hold it for you, even though we like hadn't paid anything. Cause we're like, we don't even know if this is going to work. And so we went through the process through the city and got the zoning changed. And yeah, it was a big deal. They were like, wow, this, usually takes months for this to happen. The city council overrode it. And so then we're like, okay, this is a go. Like Village Fitness is a go.
They changed the zoning for us.
Yeah.
Which was
incredible. Yeah. And in the meantime too, we had started to be like, well, let's just like start doing park workouts. So we were doing park workouts at Finkbeiner Park in Glendora and just like trying to like gain some traction. And in the meantime, some of our best friends, the Shakirians, they met with us, helped us review our business plan because he's an accountant, and she has been like the mastermind behind all of our design and creative work. Kelly has, and we were like, I think we want to name it Downtown Fitness.
DTF.
She's like,
Downtown
absolutely
Fitness.
cannot. She's like, what about Village Fitness? And we're like, I think we really like that. Let's do it.
It was that easy.
It was that easy, yeah.
Yep.
And so she helped us come up with the name of Village Fitness, and then came to the fun part of like trying to figure out like how do we actually open a gym? How do we get the money for it? Like that's no small feat. And we had no money at the time because he was in PT school. I was working.
Well, we took out extra student loans.
We did. We took out some extra student loans, and we asked all our family, presented our business plan, and the only person who gave us money, gave us $10,000 was
Grandpa Wally, my grandpa.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was like, he gave us a check and he said,
not Grandpa Ken, Grandpa Ken's dad.
Yeah, Grandpa Wally. And other than that, we had to do like financing for the equipment and the flooring.
Yep.
But it was really a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears, as you would say it. We had an incredible community of people around us that really helped us. Like they helped us paint, put together the equipment, just like everything that needed to happen. The design was all of our friend Kelly. We just had so many people. Grandpa Ken installed all the electrical and the sound system, and we really just like made it work. And so that was a hard few months getting it going. And in the meantime, we also found out that I was pregnant.
Yep.
And you still had to do your last rotation in Africa for almost a month.
Yeah, so before we opened, like the month before we opened, I was gone out of the continent for the month. You were like 7 months pregnant.
Yep.
And I was like checking in remotely.
I think you checked in like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, probably not much.
Yeah.
You guys did great though.
Yeah.
Turns out.
I was running demo workouts with one of our other coaches who was helping us out. And Kelly was helping me with all the design things. And then you got back in the country at the end of August. And then like 3 days later, we had our grand opening. Yep. September 1st, 2016. And then September 6th, we had like our first official sessions of 2016. So
September 6th.
Yeah. And then in November that year, we officially hired a coach and we had our first child, Cooper. And I think I worked up until, the night I went into labor, and then started training back a few weeks later. So
wow.
I know. No maternity leave
here. You didn't get the 12 weeks?
No, I did not.
Yeah, right.
Did you?
No, I didn't. But it was interesting because we thought, man, we're just going to open the doors and they will come. And they didn't. I think we had that first night, like 10 people sign up. We're like, we need 100 to make this thing work.
Yeah.
And I was so discouraged after that grand opening. I was like, oh, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe we're crazy. Maybe we are crazy.
A lot of people were just like, you guys are way too young to do this. Yeah. What are you doing? This is foolish. Like,
no one says that anymore.
You're having your first child. Yeah. Every single person that used to come in the doors for like a session or when they first met us, they'd be like, you guys are so young. We don't hear that anymore.
No.
3 kids and 9 years of Village, and people don't say you're too young for this anymore.
It's not. That's okay. Well, anyways, we started running challenges and promotions, and things started to grow and take off. And before we knew it, we had pretty much 100 clients in Glendora. So we like within 6 to 12 months, we'd realized the goal of building something that would help 100 people in Glendora, which was really cool. And we kind of maintained that all the way up until 2020.
Yeah. And during that time too, you and Dr. Eric started doing some
physical therapy
in the back office before we had any like official physical therapy suite. And then in 2018, we expanded. So we just had one small skinny suite in Glendora. And then we expanded to get Suite 106, which is now our physical therapy practice in Glendora. You published a book with Dr. Eric.
We wrote our book, Salubrious.
And we
you can get on Amazon.
Yeah. We officially launched Village Physical Therapy.
Yep.
And then fast forward to COVID.
Yeah, things were going really well.
They were. We were like steadily growing. Yep. Things were pretty good. And then
March 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, somewhere around there. I remember we were going on a date. we were about to go out to dinner, and somebody texted me the news headline that all gyms in LA County needed to be closed the next day.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like we're still going on this date. Like this is probably gonna be the last time we go out for a long time. And it was. It was. I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
And then this mandate came out. It's like, no matter what, you have to shut your gym down. You don't get any say in this or anything. We're like, all right, I guess we got to do this. This is legit. And so we pivoted in about 24 hours to go from in-person sessions to filming all of our workouts, putting them on a YouTube as like a premiere, and then having coaches check in on the YouTube premieres hour by hour. And we retained like 80% of our clients. Like 80% of our clients stuck around and you know, endured it with us.
What's crazy is we had all been doing, all of us had been doing P90X for like 3 months randomly before that. So we like got to fully channel our Tony Horton and do a ton of online videos for our clients. Like that's what we did basically for 6 months.
Yep.
We did some Zoom training. We did a lot of park workouts once people started to like kind of come back in.
Yeah.
And then we, you know, we're kind of allowed to like open back up, but there was all of these like, you know,
there's a bunch of fires that year too.
There was a bunch of fires. So like being
the
outside was
park workouts
horrible.
were rough.
Yeah.
But again, our clients were very resilient.
Yeah. And they just kept working out, which was awesome. While most people were like sitting at home, not doing anything, our clients were staying active, which was incredible.
Very cool.
And then we used that, like, we were like, oh, I think we can open back up in June. So before we open back up, like, what if we just redid the studio? What if we use this as our opportunity? I was like, this seems crazy, but also when are we going to be closed down long enough to like actually do this again? And so we're like, what if we had like individual stations? So we knew that people were going to have their 6 foot, you know, circle around them where they couldn't have contact with anybody else. And so we're like, well, if we built stations for people where everyone has everything they need, then that'll actually potentially work because our studio is tiny. So we're like, how are we actually going to keep people in their little, you know, zone bubble of like not being able to interact with other people? And so we increased our capacity from 6 people per session. And at that point we were doing like circuit training. So it was like, you know, some people did squats, some people did
pull-ups. We did the
pull-ups.
opposite of what you're supposed to do during COVID. We added people.
Yeah.
To the sessions, went from 6 to 8.
Yep. And so we built stations, and then the store next door that was like a dress store, we'd always said like, if it pops up, and she of course was like, COVID's, you know, shut me down, like I'm leaving, I'm going to North Carolina where I can actually own a business. And so we were like, well, this is our chance to take over the suite next door. And so we, you know, built it to just do like more one-on-one training and for people that like weren't going to be comfortable in groups. And then we quickly realized within like 6 months, like we need to have 2 small group sessions. Like we were bursting at the seams with capacity. And so we acquired both another suite in our building so that we could do more one-on-one training there. And then we converted the 102. So we now have 2 sessions pretty much all day long. There's like maybe 1 or 2 sessions during the day when it's not dual and it's usually like, you know, 11:30, 12:30, but pretty much the rest of the day we have 16 people working out, doing barbell strength training from 5 a.m. until 7:30 p.m.
And then 2021 was a big year. That was when we developed the movement standards. And I remember I sent Dr. Eric this guy's Instagram named Ben Patrick, and I signed up for his program. It's like online training program. And he had these standards that he had developed for like 30 different exercises. And both of us, me and Dr. Eric, were like, how do we hit these? Like it was very fun. He had gamified in some ways exercise. And so we both worked towards hitting his standards. And I remember Dr. Eric sent me this long Google document at like 3 a.m. one morning. It was like, hey, I put together what I think could be the standards for our clients. And since then, we've iterated on it hundreds and hundreds of times.
Almost every quarter
to build what's now become our core program at Village. We have 12 exercises that we practice in the program, which I'm sure we'll get into in a later podcast. But that was kind of the beginning. The genesis of the Village movement standards was there in those workouts and in that post-COVID time. Like it was really interesting that kind of shutdown and tribulation and stress led to all this creativity for us. Like we did the movement standards, we did benchmark week, which we'll talk about in just a second.
We created our principles.
We created this idea of having 8 stations and 8 people doing the same barbell lifts at the same time. It was very clarifying. And I think we went into just like hustle mode and creativity mode when we had to, because that's all we could control. It's like being told we can't be open. We got to do something with this energy that we have.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then like since then, I mean, we've created a workout journal. So every person that comes in has their own workout journal. And obviously that's, gotten better each quarter as well. We started doing benchmark weeks. So at the end of every 12-week training cycle that our clients do, we call it our quarter system. So they train really hard for 11 weeks. And then on the 12th week, they get to test 6 of the movement standards. And so it's been a really good way to where they gamified, but we're able to kind of test and see their progress throughout the quarter. And then we take a week off, which that's another big thing, which people have said over and over again, how do you give your staff so much time off? How do you guys, do you actually close down? Yeah, for rest week. So we close down every 13th week for rest week. And it gives our clients, a little bit of a break, and it's awesome. They've fully embraced it.
What year did we start doing that? 2020?
No, that 21? Was 2021 or 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, since then, the program has just grown a ton. It's gotten, I think, 30,000 times better than when we started. Than when we started in 2016. And then in 2023, we had the crazy idea. We're like, let's start another one.
Yep.
Let's see if we can do this. And we were not ready for that at all.
No.
But we did it because we found this space in San Marino that said gym space for lease. And so we're like, well, that
it's
sounds
a
great.
sign.
It's a sign.
We have to do it.
It's a sign.
We can't not do it. That was the thing. We just couldn't not do it. And
even
so
though it was
did
horrible timing.
It was terrible timing.
Terrible timing. Just like everything else in our life. But we did it anyways. And I wonder who drove that forward.
It was me.
Yep.
It was me. There was a time, and the clients at San Marino have always been awesome. There's some people out there that started super early on that are still with us that are just so fun to be around and so fun to coach and have in the community. But there was a time where we had about 40 clients out there, and it was not enough to pay the bills, and we were supplementing it. Everything we were making from Glendora was going to basically pay for that location. And there was a time where somebody on the team was like, if I could just snap my fingers and make the second location, San Marino, go away,
I would.
And
I said, me too.
I get it. But that turned around.
Yeah.
We brought this guy named Victor, who helped us he was already on our Glendora team, but we brought him in as the manager in San Marino, and he really helped us to transform it into what is now an awesome location. We have 170 clients in our group fitness program. We have a full-time physical therapist out there, Dr. Tyler, who's now the manager. And we have an awesome team.
Yeah, I would say the team out there just has been
they're great.
Rock stars and have really helped us grow it. So
our whole staff is awesome.
Yeah.
Even Jamila behind the camera, behind the mics, she's awesome.
Jamila's been around.
Especially Jamila.
One of the longest.
Yep.
One of the longest. She loves us so much.
It's true. And now it's 2025. We've got these 2 locations. We've got some crazy goals for the future. Our goal by the end of 2027 is to have 4 locations. People always
two more.
So people always ask me, they're like, "Where's the next location?" And I'll be honest, I really don't know. I don't know. I thought
we have lots of ideas,
tons of ideas, but we do not have anything ironed out yet. And
we have yet to see another gym space for lease.
We have not. Yes.
If you see one, let us know.
Send it to us because we will rent it. Apparently, we cannot say no to that offer, is what they say. So that's the plan. We want to continue to get this barbell strength training in a way that's safe and effective, overseen by doctors of physical therapy, into the hands of as many people as possible. And a big part of that is going to be this podcast. My hope is that this podcast, is really informative and helpful for you as the listener. And if and when we do bring a village to your town, I hope you're excited about that and know a little bit about what we do.
Yeah, totally. So now we're going to get into, I think, maybe my favorite part, which is Q&A.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that you don't know, and I think you're going to do the same.
Yep.
And you get to answer it. So first one, if you could go back 10 years and give yourself one fitness rule to follow, what would it be?
Wow. Fitness specifically?
Yeah. Fitness.
Oh, man. 10 years. So I'd be 25. The thing that keeps coming to my mind is walking. I would probably tell myself to walk 10 to 15,000 steps a day minimum.
Love it.
I think there was a period where I really stopped walking a lot between 25 and 30. And I think walking is one of the single most important things you can do from a health standpoint, just because of its impact on cardiovascular health and mental health and body composition. Frankly, like walking is really good for maintaining a body that's lean.
Love it. That's not what I expected, but it's great.
What did you expect?
Something strength training. But I think you were already doing that.
It was. There was a time where I kind of stopped strength training as consistently. I was like riding my bike a lot, doing a lot of intermittent fasting. I was looking at some pictures of like 2020, and I really had a lot less muscle than I have now.
I like you better now.
Oh, good.
Okay, your turn.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the hardest workout you've ever done in your life?
Oh, that is hard. That's hard to answer. So let's see. Well, I would say probably the hardest workout and probably the highest I've ever seen my heart rate. I was in a bike race in college, and I got like moved up to be with like the girls. A couple of them were like professional bike racers, and they were like, hey, one of the teammates, like she couldn't show up to this race. Can you race in this like team crit? And so you had to like draft off each other and like pull your weight, and you rotated, right? And then the goal was like, after you can't draft, you just kind of like hang on the back for as long as possible, because it's the first two teammates to cross the finish line. And I think it was only like 13 miles total or something. Like it wasn't a very far distance, but the intensity was so high. And I remember looking down at my heart rate, and it was like maybe 213. And I was like,
213?
I felt like
die.
I was going to die. I did. I was like, I don't know if I can stay upright on my bike anymore.
Dang.
I was trying so hard. I didn't want to let them down. And I still couldn't keep up with him the whole time. I don't think I was riding my bike that much at that point either, because like I was in a ton of classes. I think we were planning our wedding.
Yeah.
And
I still rode my bike a lot.
You did, but I was like, I'm so busy. I'm working, planning a wedding, in school. Like I don't have that much time to train. And so I was like, sure, I'll go to this race on the weekend. And I was not prepared at all. So that was probably the hardest workout, at least, that I can remember. I'm sure there's been lots of hard. And then also probably CrossFit. But I think we've both injured ourselves doing CrossFit because we're too competitive.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Let's do one more each.
Yeah, one more each. Great. What is one health habit that you secretly hate, but you do anyway?
Oh, wow. One health habit that I secretly hate. I mean, I hate the cold plunge.
Me too.
I get in there for 2 minutes most days. I don't want to get in there. It's cold and it's plunge. And it is uncomfortable. But I like how I feel after. I feel really good after I get in the cold plunge.
Me too. Love-hate relationship.
Okay. My final question. What point in your life were you the strongest you've ever been? And why do you think that was?
Good question. I would say when I was just doing personal training and we had moved down here and had a lot more time to consistently lift, I was probably lifting 4 to 5 days a week. I wasn't doing a ton of cardio at that point. But I would say that. And then also now, I would say there was like parts of that I was strong. Like I deadlifted 225. That was the first time I ever did 10 pull-ups. But I would say that there's parts of me now where I'm like, oh, I'm able to do just as much now in some ways. Deadlifts are not quite there. But I think I've done like 13 or 14 pull-ups now. And there's been some moments now where I think my strength is almost back to where it was before having kids. But I would say I think just at that point I was able to do more and longer and more consistently. I was able to strength train. So it's easier to go up on some of the big lifts. Totally. So that was probably the strongest I've ever been. Nice. I also was 10 years younger. So that helped a little bit.
That does help. Does help. You're pretty close to that now.
Yeah. Now. Yeah. I've been working hard.
Yep. All right. Well, until next time. This has been episode 1 of the Strength for Life podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. If you like this, please subscribe and leave us a review. If you didn't like it, go find another podcast to listen to. There's many of them out there. This might not be for you, our ramblings about our life story.
Yeah. And if you have questions or things that you want us to talk about, please send us an email to podcast@villagefpt.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you're welcome to just leave a comment on things that you'd like us to cover or questions you want us to ask. There's no question that we will not answer. We're pretty open books. So
yeah, we are open books.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for listening. Hope you liked it.